Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 84. You're here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be looking back at Barry Season 4 now that it's wrapped up its entire series. We'll share our thoughts on the series finale um, and what we hope to see from Bill Hader next. But before that, let's talk about the summer box office thus far and if we have any regrets with our box office draft picks based on May's performance and what we've seen so far this summer. So yeah, like I said, we'll kick off at the box office. First off, we'll just dive into where each of us are at numbers wise based on our picks. Just to recap, we all had 8 picks in our box office draft. So far, I'm at $0. None of my movies have opened yet. So right now, I'm just watching at what you guys have been doing. Doug, you've just hit the board this past weekend with the Little Mermaid with a solid $119 million holiday weekend for Memorial Day. It's like basically right on par with Aladdin, a little bit above. When you adjust with inflation and the earlier advanced screenings, I would say it's pretty much identical to Aladdin. It's
Yeah.
definitely seemed a little more front loaded as far as the weekend went than Aladdin went. I think it's probably because it's skewed so female heavy in comparison to Aladdin, which is more for both males and females in the way that the marketing is targeted. Um, but we'll see how it performs overall. It does have better reviews than Aladdin, and I believe its cinema score was the same. So I think we can probably expect somewhere between 300 and 350 million, possibly up to 400 million. But where are you thinking kind of after this opening weekend?
It's hard to say. I agree. I think low end is 300 million. I'd love 400 million. It feels like I may not be able to get there based on how it opened. Hoping it's leggy. We've got Spider Verse opening tomorrow. Well,
A few days from now.
Thursday
Yeah,
technically,
Thursday.
but
All day Thursday, but we'll call it Friday because that's what the box office world does.
yeah. So I think that's a little too close to comfort in my eyes to Mermaid, because I think that it's gonna take away screens, it's gonna take away people.
They'll definitely, yeah, it'll take away the premium screens.
So, yeah, so that's concerning to me. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if I don't like 400 feels a little bit like a long shot just based on the fact that Spider Verse is opening next weekend and that Mermaid didn't blow the doors off with its opening.
The good
So
thing is it's not direct competition.
yeah, it's not direct competition, but it's competition adjacent enough that it's But I would prefer if Mermaid had its had kind of like what Guardians had, where it kind of owned the at least had
Like it
another
had the
weekend
next
to
weekend
itself.
with
Yeah,
nothing really opening,
yeah.
and
Spider
it had the
Verse,
premium screens for 2 weekends.
yeah. Spider Verse right on the heels is just kind of tough, and I think a lot of people are gonna not be talking about Mermaid anymore, and they'll be talking about Spider Verse this weekend.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess its next film that really is like direct competition would be Pixar's Elemental, which would be since that does look like a somewhat, I guess, female skewing Pixar film. It looks like the female is more of the protagonist than the male character.
Yeah,
And then I guess Ruby Gilman is the next like straight up direct comparison where it's two female protagonists, both kids movies. Um, but yeah, I would say Aladdin made 350. Based on this opening weekend, it seemed like 350 would be where it will probably end up, like around that area. Um, which hey,
yeah,
not bad at
yeah. I'm
all.
not. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not what I was I was hoping, for something bigger, but it's not enough to win it, but it's enough to keep me in the game.
Oh yeah, no, fuck yeah. It's real good for a wraparound pick for 3 or 4, whichever you want to call it. You had that in Flash. Um, but we'll talk about Flash and its projections as of now in a little bit. But as of now, Corey's far and away in the lead with 436 million. In our last episode, we talked about how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opened with a disappointing, what was it,
20.
116 million, something 120 million around there.
Yeah.
Um, and how that was below, in between the openings of 1 and 2, volume 1 and 2. It does seem like it's going to end between volumes 1 and 2, with somewhere around 350 million. Currently, we're looking at 306 million. It's holding very well in weekends 2, 2, 3, and 4. Um, so I'd say 350 definitely is in the cards. It now has direct superhero competition coming up with Spider Verse, so we'll see how it holds directly up against that. But I mean, the word of mouth on that one has just been so strong that thankfully the people that didn't rush out to see it opening weekend did catch it later on because this movie was worth. It deserved people to see it, and like that kind of Marvel slip we've been seeing, especially on like second weekends, and just the less enthusiasm that we've seen for the MCU of late seemed to catch it on weekend one, but it rebounded ever since then. Book club, uh, Corey, this was one of your late picks, I believe, mid to late pick.
Mm-hmm.
This one turned out to be a pretty big disappointment. Um, It's at 16 million right now. Still a better pick than had you went with something like The Machine or About My Father, which both opened this weekend. Um, About My Father was something that I know at least I was like, maybe I should pick this one towards the end. Like I was really thinking about it, but that
Mm-hmm.
only opened to 5 million. Um,
Yeah.
Burt Kreischer's movie The Machine opened to about 6 million. So both of those real bad. Um, but yeah, Book Club didn't replicate the original, which made about 70 million worldwide.
It's already on
Um,
VOD, so I think that one's dead.
yeah, yeah, dead in the water. I mean, on its third weekend, it made about $1 million. So that's the end of that one. Fast 10, unfortunately, has had a disappointing run in America,
Mm-hmm.
uh, doing very well worldwide or internationally, where it's already topped $500 million, and it's the fifth franchise now to top, I believe, 7 billion worldwide. Um, the first four being the MCU, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or the Wizarding World, and what's the
Is
fourth one?
Avatar on there?
No, that
I
hasn't
guess
hit.
there's only been
That
two, so
hasn't hit
it's
seven
not a.
billion. It will, and it's like
Yeah, probably the
third,
third one.
third or fourth entry. Um, I forget what the other one is, but yeah, I know it's tied with the Wizarding World with the least amount of entries to hit 7 billion worldwide, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
With 11 films, including the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff. Yeah, right now Fast 10 is looking at 113 million in America. Its second weekend, its holiday weekend was 28 million. It opened to like 65, 67 million.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it should end up as like the third lowest in the franchise domestically, unadjusted for inflation. Um, Adjusted for inflation, Tokyo Drift will be the only one smaller than it. Um, so we will see if the returns of spoiler alert, Gal Gadot and The Rock make an impact on the next installment. We still have to find out if there's going to be two more or one more in the mainline series. I would imagine, based on the worldwide figures, that they end up doing two more. Um,
Yeah, that's what I
but
think.
that's something we'll find out probably this month. Um, One crazy fact that I just read today, related to last summer's box office, is Top Gun Maverick just became this past weekend Tom Cruise's biggest film ever in Japan. It is still running in Japan for a full year. It has hit the full year mark in Japan. Fucking crazy. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Um,
Oh
I
my
know it's
god.
unrelated to this summer's box office, but I just had to bring it up because when I saw that article, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Still in
Um,
theaters.
yeah, fucking year later. Um, Absolutely crazy. Um,
I'm going to Japan October. Maybe we can go catch some Top Gun Maverick while we're there.
yeah, you're due to see it in like a real IMAX. Maybe they've got one there. Um, that would be pretty cool.
I think they do in Tokyo.
But yeah, Fast clearly is having diminishing returns in America, and but it will be interesting to see if it rebounds, whether if the next one is the final one and it just gets that finale bump, or if it is the second to last and gets a bump from Dwayne Johnson being back and Gal being back in the franchise. Personally, I enjoyed Fast 10 a lot. I thought it was on the top half of the franchise. Jason Momoa was an incredibly charismatic villain, probably the best villain definitely the best villain I would say in this series so far. He's basically like was playing some sort of cross between like I would say Heath Ledger's Joker and Jack Nicholson's Joker, um, and it was just a blast to watch. Um, so I was hoping it would have had some better word of mouth based on its opening weekend, but unfortunately it is not. And then Little Mermaid, pretty solid. I saw that today actually, and I thought that was one of the better live action adaptations. So hopefully it should have some legs. But I guess Corey, we'll start with you, and then we'll work our way down to me. Regrets so far, things you would have done differently in the draft based on the results of the May box office.
Probably the biggest thing I would have done is not pick Fast as high as I did. I probably would have waited. Um, and I mean, like what you said, book club. It was a late pick for me, so I'm not sure there were really. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, like what the other options were. I think at the time I made probably the one of the better one of the better choices that I could have made. Um, but I guess we'll see. But Fast frustrates me because I really did think that that was going to be a decent pick, a decent pickup, and unfortunately it kind of underperformed. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, with book club, I forget where exactly you got it, but based on the first movie, I don't think it was like a bad pick or anything. Like if it was like towards the end of the draft, I can't recall exactly where he did pick it. Um, but I wasn't like if he had picked it like towards the end, it wouldn't have been like something that I was like, oh, that's crazy.
I think
Because
it was
I
my
mean,
second to last
the
pick.
first one did do very well. Um, Doug, I don't know if you're referring back to the draft order, and that's why I
I'm
hear
trying to.
all the clicks.
Yeah,
It would have been episode 70 or episode 82 that we did the draft, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fast, yeah, you probably could have got it in the third round. Um,
book club was Corey's last pick.
okay,
So
you can't be too mad about a last pick.
19 million.
I
That's
mean,
not bad.
what were you gonna do? Draft About My Father? I mean, you did
Yeah.
better. This book club did better than About My Father. Um, there were like four movies where we're like, should we have drafted these? And that was one of them, and it did better than that. I don't know, Doug, if you see anything that is like obvious at this point in time that you think you should have drafted beforehand.
I mean, if we're willing to talk about tracking, then yeah, I've got some stuff. So,
For book club, I'm talking about, not Fast.
oh, no, I mean book club. I wasn't super high on book club, but I mean, if it had the chance to, like you said, earn what the first one did at that low of a spot, I mean, I
Even,
think it was worth the flyer for it.
yeah, you even like half of it, but like it just like did a complete fucking collapse compared to the first
Yeah.
one. Um,
Yeah. Very surprised.
so that's yeah, a little surprising there. Fast, yeah, I think there you probably should have went with I texted Doug beforehand, like Corey's totally taking Mission Impossible in the second round. It's fucking gone. Like I know that. Um, you could have gotten the third round because I would have ended up going with Spider Verse and either Barbie or Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have gotten Barbie in that third round.
Yeah.
Um, and you could have got Fast there, but yeah, it's just a series with diminishing returns at this point domestically. Um, it was something that when JP drafted F9 2 summers ago, where he did, I was like, I wouldn't have done that. Um, Fast 10 was sort of a similar situation with you, but hey, we'll see what happens with the next one. And yeah, with tracking, yes, there was obviously a bunch that make now more sense than Fast, as Doug alluded to. What were some of the ones that you Spider Verse? I guess is one of the ones that you're referring to.
Yeah, I mean, I, I haven't looked back at Spider Verse tracking, but I think it's tracking for well over 100 million, right? Like, what's
Is it
the
at?
key?
Oh, is it at that now?
I don't know. Let me. I'm
Last
really.
time it was
I've.
like 80 million for opening weekend for Spider Verse.
Oh, I think it's higher than that now.
Okay,
Hold on.
that was like weeks ago. So
Oh, maybe not. So May 11th. That's kind of weeks ago. Have they updated this?
Yeah, that's a while ago now. It's the 30th.
I mean, the Variety article you shared about the Flash and Elemental this past week didn't mention anything opening in weekends before May or June 6th. Excuse me, June 16th. It only talked about the Flash and Elemental. I'm interested in see where Transformers and Spider Verse are currently looking at.
I think Transformers is going to make money. I'm kind of.
Which blows my fucking mind.
I should have taken that because I think that movie's going to make money, like because of kids.
So Spider Verse. So you're right. May 11th, Spider Verse was tracking between 70 and 80 million. I personally think it's gonna hit 100 million.
That would be huge.
I just.
What did the first one do opening weekend?
Like 30 million.
45.
Oh,
35.
wow. So that would be massive jump. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean this has potential for a huge breakout sequel. The legs on the first one were incredible.
Yeah.
It had holiday legs,
That's true.
which always play a part. I mean, look at Puss in Boots this past holiday season. But I mean, it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. Like it's had grown in esteem since its release, and only found more fans. So I definitely see this one making significantly more opening weekend than the first. I just don't know about its long term gross.
Yeah.
The one thing
I still think 300. 100 million opening. I think it's gonna hit 300.
The one thing that worries me about Spider-Man is I heard the tone is like drastically different. So
yeah, I heard it's dark,
I heard it's
a lot darker.
a lot darker, and that could end up hurting it in the long run.
Still PG. It's PG, right?
I'm not sure.
I think so.
But like the 3 or 4 reviews that I looked at, they all said that the movie was like jarringly dark compared to the first one, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, but then they also said it's a fucking masterpiece, and
yeah, I read that hyperbole too. Masterpiece, greatest film of all time. I haven't seen a movie better than this in my entire life. How many times have we heard that from a journalist?
Yeah, exactly. That is the first, like a first reaction. Like
this is the single greatest moving picture I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
It's wow. I've seen it before everyone else in an audience. That was as hyped as could be. It's as reliable as a test screening review is.
Sure. I mean, but if it's as good, if it's better than Into the Spider-Verse, like,
oh yeah,
that's a damn good movie.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if it's better than Into the Spider-Verse, it won Best Animated Feature again this year.
Yeah, totally.
Or
yeah, so
we know Elemental ain't doing it, based on the reviews so far. I don't think Super Mario Brothers most definitely is not going to win Best Animated Movie, um, unless Disney's Wish later this year is some sort of masterpiece. But I imagine Spider-Man will probably do 2 for 2. It's just so visually impressive. Like that alone gives it a leg up.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly hard for me to believe it's not gonna be a. I mean, I get it. Those reviews, the first reviews are highly like unreliable. But if it is better than the first one, and the animation is better and more like just as groundbreaking as the first one, like I don't see how it's not like one of the best movies.
Thinking now about those Transformers first reactions you sent, even those were like those were just like the Transformers movie we've all been waiting for. Like,
Yeah, but those were more like just as good as Bumblebee, which means it's like
yeah,
fun, but
mixed
not
these,
like
yeah, Bumblebee slash like the first one in quality.
right.
Um,
And that's
but
not like
Pete
anywhere near.
Davidson stole the show.
Yeah,
Everything
that's
he
when I
does,
was like, all right,
everything he
like,
does is amazing.
yeah.
Wait, Bumblebee reaction or Transformers reactions were like super super positive.
Yeah,
Or
Doug sent us an article the other day.
oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, they were like surprisingly positive when I was expecting everyone to shit on it.
So was
They were,
I.
so we'll see. There's still time for people to shit on it. So I
Um,
mean, I think. So what do we have coming up movie wise? I mean, are we willing to go there? Are there any other?
but before I would just say, Corey, any of your other picks coming up? You have any? You got 5 films left now. How you feeling? Any of the ones that you're feeling higher on now than when you originally drafted them? For example, we got a new Barbie trailer this past week. You feeling better now based on that trailer? Worse? I think every other
Um,
Meg 2, we got a trailer after you drafted it. Um, but I think we did maybe talk about that trailer in our last episode.
Barbie, Barbie, I was really high on when I picked it. So I think now I think that it's going to be even bigger than I originally thought, which will be good. I'm hoping that it'll be huge or big enough that it'll kind of make up for my Fast X blunder.
Yeah,
So
then you could just pretend that you flip flopped them,
yeah,
like you did. Got Barbie in the second round, and
yeah.
Fast was third round.
So that's what I'm hoping for. As far as everything else, I'm still kind of in the same boat. Meg 2 looks fun. I mean, and it seems like the movie has a lot of buzz, which I still haven't seen the first one, but people love that fucking movie. So I think that was ended up it'll end up being like a good pick. And Ruby Gillman, I still think is gonna be. I think that's gonna be a big movie.
Yeah, I think Barbie, based on this later, I think each trailer has gotten better that they put out for that one and has made it look more appealing each time um, to expand the audience.
They're not doing that PG version, are they?
Based
Is
on the
that?
trailer for the new one, I don't see
I
them
hope
doing the
not.
PG rated version. Um, but the only thing with Barbie is like how many guys are going to go see it. Is it strictly stuck to being like a female skewing movie? Because it'd be tough to truly like break out if if they can't figure out a way to get guys to go see it. Also,
Hmm.
um, the irreverent tone potentially could help. Um,
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
yeah, and then Guardians turned out to be a solid number 1 pick for you. You had
Hmm.
the number 2 pick. You picked it number 1. While it looked shaky on opening weekend, for all we know, it could end up being the biggest movie of the summer if nothing breaks out. Um, so I think it was a solid pick. Um,
Insidious, I think is gonna have um, a good run when that comes out. That was another thing.
oh yeah, I don't think we had the trailer before you drafted it, but
Yeah, I think that's gonna get a lot of the fans in the seats to see that one because it's the return
yeah, I
of
mean it's
family.
horror, so it's due to mainstream horror, so it's due to make money no matter what.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting to see Boogeyman opening this coming weekend and see if
Oh yeah,
any of us fucked up not picking that one.
I don't think
But
we did.
Talk to me. I
Yeah,
still think
yeah, I'm
that
getting the
it's going
feeling
to
that
be.
we didn't fuck up with Boogeyman either. Based on the early reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, wasn't that one that premiered somewhere early and didn't have great?
Yeah.
It's at CinemaCon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
CinemaCon.
CinemaCon. Yeah, you're right.
There was they did another screening somewhere like within the past few weeks, and it was very similar. People were lukewarm.
Okay, so yeah, we probably Insidious was going to make more than Boogeyman regardless.
Mm.
Still not high on the going with an art house A24 horror movie, but I know you're very high on this one, and you bring up valid points about the the virality of the directors. So we'll see if it does break out. But Doug, we can go to yours. I'm assuming you're feeling pretty good with your first round pick, unless
Yep.
is there anything you would have? I know you did it as a complete fu to me, knowing that I was going to take it in with my second or third pick. Um, you didn't go with your heart with where you would have taken Spider Verse.
Uh-huh.
You ended up going with Flash and Spider Verse. I knew you. I with you, I was like, he's gonna go Flash Spider Verse, or there's a chance that he goes with Little Mermaid because, like, I'm gonna fucking take it. And there's,
Yeah.
I did, I don't know. I thought you would have potentially gone Spider Verse Little Mermaid over Flash Little Mermaid, just because you love Spider Verse so much. But
Yep. Yeah, I was really torn about it.
Little Mermaid was your number one, right?
Yeah, Mermaid was my number one. I felt that was like the obvious play, and I still feel like that's probably the obvious play for me at that third position.
yeah,
The safer play and the play that I was really torn about, and I'm probably gonna regret, and figured I would regret when I did the decision was I've been really high on Spider Verse, and I've been saying it's gonna hit 300 million. I still feel that way about it, and so I feel like that would have probably been the safer play over the Flash. Flash to me was kind of like a big gamble in the hopes that it got a lot of hype, and just kind of just completely broke out.
yeah.
So I mean, we've seen the tracking; it's tracking at like 70 million. Obviously, that's not a very high
It's
number.
shockingly low.
Yeah, it's very low. Assuming that that's right, then that you needs to have a ton of legs. Like it needs like the word of mouth needs to be really positive. And it's got to be like driving people to go out in theaters to see it. I mean, Guardians was able to put together something. So I mean, it seems like people are lukewarm on superhero, but if the word of mouth comes out and it's positive, perhaps the legs could be decent. But
And it has that logo that people fucking hate, preceding the film, which is DC.
yeah, it's a DC movie. That was the biggest risk with the Flash, I think, was the fact that it's a DC movie and DC hasn't been performing well. Yeah, I mean, if I could do it again, I definitely would have put Spider Verse over Flash, and that's even before either movie came out. I just have based on the tracking, Spider Man's tracking up and Flash is tracking down, or trending down. So I think that probably would have been the better move. And then obviously, I mean, as we get further into my draft, Elemental is tracking at 40 million. I think that's going to trend downward. I don't even know if it's going to hit 40 million. I mean, that's what I was reading. That's going to be, if it does hit 40 million, that's the third worst Pixar opening. So that's not good.
Yeah.
Onward, being the first one or low, and then the dragon one,
Or The Good Dinosaur.
the good dinosaur.
It might be lower than or higher than A Bug's Life.
I think it is. I think it is. But I mean, now we're talking about like
We're
would it
going
be if
back
there
to
was inflation? Yeah,
We're going back to 1998 in order.
yeah. I mean, even the good dinosaur, which it beats. I mean, we're in 2015. Like you add inflation, and it's not going to beat the good dinosaur.
Yeah. I'm going back to Bug's Life. It's 3-day weekend. It was a Thanksgiving opening, so it's 3-day Thanksgiving was 33. It's 5-day Thanksgiving was 45. but adjusted for inflation, it's like closer to like 70 million probably.
Right. Yeah. So
Um,
inflation's been a big thing. So Elemental's probably going to have been a miss. And looking down at like other movies I could have gotten, I mean, based on the way Flash is performing, I'm not or trending, and the tracking that we're seeing for the Flash, I'm not super high on Blue Beetle. So I don't know that I would be any happier with Blue Beetle at this point. I mean,
mhm.
it could be a breakout, but I just don't like the way DC is trending at the moment. Haunted Mansion, I think I would have preferred over that. Meg 2, I think from the trailer, as we talked about, looks really fun. I could see that being a breakout. Um, I think the Elemental and Flash right now are the two, when I'm looking at my draft, the two that I probably like. If I could change it, I would. And then there's no tracking. I just immediately regretted the pick afterwards. The Voyage of the Demeter. I mean, that's going to make like $10 million. And
Yeah, I definitely don't see that one hitting. I wish I took Gran Turismo. I think that trailer is a killer one. So I think you could have a pretty big hit there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I kind of shat on, but they announced yesterday Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the score for it, so it must be pretty good if it's getting them involved. Um, so maybe you can have a hit there. These Transformers reviews, maybe, and now and with tracking, would you say you said it was tracking fairly high, right?
it was, but it was like the Bobo tracking.
Okay.
Variety hasn't put anything out, I don't think, on Transformers.
I'd be interested if it hits. I'll be very, very surprised. If it does hit, then I think it's because it's targeting a different demographic with its like lead characters and its setting than the previous movies, and it's an underrepresented demographic in like the Black and Latino audience in a big box office movie. Um, and it's 1994 setting. It's hip hop infused soundtrack. Um, maybe that
Holly,
works for it.
so we did get the Hollywood Reporter said it's tracking at a $68 million box office
That's crazy.
opening. That would be really good. I'd be
What
really
did,
happy with that.
I mean, I don't even think Transformers Five opened that well,
Yeah, that.
and that's definitely a
Where's it
bigger
coming
opening.
from? I don't. That's the thing I don't understand. Like,
That's
where's this hype coming from all of a sudden?
I have no idea.
Because no one has been hyped at all about the movie up to this point. We've had like 3 trailers.
The last night, the fifth Transformers movie opened to $44 million. Bumblebee opened to $21 million.
And that was a great movie.
Yeah, granted that was a holiday movie, legged out to 127. It made while last night made 130, so nearly made as much as last night, despite opening less. Um, but yeah, its last big movie was the fourth one, Age of Extinction, which made 245 million domestically back in 2014. Um,
And what is it tracking again?
Opening weekend like 70.
Yeah, like 70 million in domestic.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
If it does it, that's shocking.
Makes
But that gives me a lot of faith for Blue Beetle. If it does make that much money.
Yeah.
I wonder if Anthony Ramos is maybe a big factor because he's got huge fans. Like he's got a big fan base.
And The Heights bombed, and he was the lead in that.
Okay, that's true.
Um,
I'm trying.
I'm just thinking the fact that it is a Latino. The two main characters are a Latino male and a black female,
Okay.
and they haven't been served in a Transformers movies or many mainstream PG-13 movies in general. So maybe that could have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree it's a high tracking, probably feel more comfortable in like the 40 million,
Yeah,
35 million like range.
Yeah,
But
at best.
I mean, we'll see. I'm hopeful that it'll be 70 million so I can.
you hire on Oppenheimer yet?
No, I think Oppenheimer is not. I still like feel bad about that pick. No one's gonna go out and see that damn movie.
Why do you
No one
think
even
no
knows
one?
it's. No one even knows it's coming out.
Who's nobody? Everyone
I
who's
have yet to
seen
see.
Guardians of
I
the
have yet.
Galaxy and all these movies that have come out this summer, they're seeing the trailer.
I have yet to like turn on the TV and see an Oppenheimer trailer like pop up
It
or
is May and it comes out in the towards the end of July. Well, you're not going to see a TV spot yet.
yeah. We need to get those Flash TV spots going too. I'm not seeing enough Flash promotion.
How much live TV do you watch where you should be seeing these commercials?
Not a ton, but we need to start introducing those ads now on Netflix ASAP.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, just rebrand it, keep it front and center.
I don't know. I still think Oppenheimer's a big one for you. Um, it looks like an exciting fucking film. Um, and Nolan's such a big brand name, but I guess we'll see.
Once
But
we get the drafts.
everyone I know who has seen the trailer or is just a fan of Christopher Nolan films is hyped for it. So I think it's going to make good money. Um, all right. Any other thoughts about your movies?
Nope. I'm just yep. We'll see how
Okay.
it goes.
All right.
Not super happy, but not I don't feel like the sky is and the wheels are falling off of my draft just yet.
Gotcha. Um, all right. Well, my box office really doesn't kick off until the end of June for the most part. I have two movies opening prior to June 30th, and then and then six movies that open from June 30th to the end of the summer to Labor Day weekend. Um, one of them is my big one. So I got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse opening this weekend. I was happy with where I ultimately got to draft it. Um, didn't think it was going to get to me. I think I'm probably fucked up with Indiana Jones in my first pick, just based on what's come out of Cannes, or Cons, or Can, however the fuck it's pronounced. Um, but they weren't very high on the film. Um, it's an Indiana Jones movie, so it's still going to make money. I can't see it making any less than 250 at worst. Um, but I don't see it being a potential like breakout movie that can end up making like 400 million, um, or anything like that. So I think I probably should have went with the safer play of Guardians of the Galaxy, um, for my number one pick, where I would have been regretting it after weekend one, but based on the legs, would have ultimately been happy with it. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Otherwise, still super happy with getting Mission Impossible and Spider Verse with my 2 and 3 round picks, second and third round picks. Strays has been moved to August, opposite Blue Beetle. I'm actually very happy about this because I didn't like at the time the fact that I drafted two R-rated comedies that opened within
Yeah.
2 weeks of each other. So I like the fact that I've got No Hard Feelings in June and Strays in August. Um, Hopefully, both of them can break out to a degree for an R-rated comedy. We haven't really seen a successful R-rated comedy since Jackass, Forever, back in February of 2022. Um, and that is a non-scripted one. The last scripted comedy, R-rated comedy that I can think of is Good Boys, which was August of 2019, which is the director of No Hard Feelings. Um, so we'll see what happens there. Um, but yeah, I'm still very happy with Mission Impossible. I think the Tom Cruise love from Maverick is going to help this one. It's guaranteed to make over 200 million. Just about how high above it goes. Haunted Mansion, I'm happier with after the latest trailer.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't love the first trailer, but the brand alone, I really didn't even like the first trailer, but the brand alone was what made me draft it as high as I did.
Second
Uh,
trailer super
but
strong.
I thought the second trailer was a lot better. And that one can do pretty well. Um, has potential to do pretty well. And then I'm still high on the Equalizer 3 ending this summer. And Blue Beetle, the fact that it's a DC movie, still has me worried. Maybe I should have went with Transformers at that point, or I should have went with. Well, we didn't see the Gran Turismo trailer yet, so if I had, I probably would have made a leap of faith and went high on that one, um, somewhere in like my fourth or fifth round. Um, but
I think if Flash does well, Blue Beetle has a really good chance to do well later in the summer.
yeah, it maybe
If Flash doesn't, then
the DC movies are just like such a crapshoot. Like
True.
they go up and down. Um, like again, for me, the reason why I'm going with why I think Blue Beetle could hit, it wouldn't necessarily be the Flash. It would help if it's following a good, successful DC movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that it's a Latino
Mm-hmm.
led superhero movie, which hasn't been done before, unless you include Spider Verse, where he's a biracial superhero, but cartoon. Um, so I don't know. It's tough to really look at mine when I got $0 million at this point.
Yeah.
And Corey's close to $500 million already.
I mean, when I look at your draft, I think I agree. I mean, with the reviews of Indiana and knowing how well Guardians has performed, I mean, if you could have Guardians, Spider Verse, Mission Impossible,
I don't think I get those three films though.
Mm-mm.
Who does Corey take as number 2?
Yeah, Corey probably takes Indiana Jones.
If Corey takes Indiana Jones,
then I do get Mission Impossible and Spider Verse.
If I didn't pick Fast, I probably would have picked Mission Impossible before Indy.
Okay, well, it's irrelevant because you took Fast, so
yeah.
It would be whether you took Indy or Fast. So all right, fuck. Then yeah, I probably could have got Indy. Then I would have went Indy and Mission Impossible, or no, I would have probably Indy and Spider Verse. I would have done.
Yeah, you probably still go Indy
in the second and third. Well, that changes everything because if I take Guardians with number 1, what does Corey take with his number 2 pick?
I have no idea. Indy maybe, or the Flash?
No, because he wouldn't even take Indy with his second round pick.
Oh yeah, maybe the Flash.
I probably would have taken the Flash.
So Doug, you take Little Mermaid and Spider Verse.
Yeah.
So Corey takes Fast X with his second round pick, and then we catch back up to me, and I
Mission Impossible
and Indy.
And then I would have taken Barbie.
And we're right back to where we were. It would have been a very different draft for the first 3 rounds, for the first 10 picks. And then it gets back to normal.
Barbie, I definitely would have picked at that spot or very, very quickly. Either way.
I would have liked that version of the draft better for me.
At this point, I think I would like that version of the draft better for me too.
Corey's the only
I wouldn't.
Yeah, Corey's the only loser of that one.
I wouldn't. I don't want that. I don't want that version.
Yeah, you have your
Murph and I still increased in the.
Yeah, we both of us probably do better, and Corey has the crapshoot of the Flash. Fast still does what Fast does, and then he gets back to what his draft was going to be from that point on. So yeah, I think now we're still in the most the heated battle with the three of us based on where we did ultimately take our picks.
I think your first 3 picks, Murph, scare me the most because I think you could easily hit 900 million between those 3. 800 maybe is more realistic, but still, 900 might have been a little ambitious. Maybe 800.
I need to see some for Indy.
Yeah, I mean, if Indy just has a great has hype, then maybe 900. But I guess I still think 800 between the top three. I just maybe Corey and I can catch up in some of these later rounds.
I mean, I think Gran Turismo is going to be a huge one for you in the late round pick.
Yeah, I'm pissed I didn't take that.
Corey's got
Um,
Talk to Me,
I wish I got that.
Insidious.
But we didn't have a trailer. I was worried because we didn't have a trailer.
Yeah, no, I didn't
I
think it
didn't
was
know
going
what
to come
the
out
fuck-
this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I
like
didn't
freaked
really
me
know
out.
what was in it.
I mean, there's still a chance some of our movies won't come out this summer. I mean,
Mhm.
after our draft, Strays moved from June to August, so like there's still wiggle room, especially with the writer's strike still going on. Then the calendar is going to shift. Event the longer this strike goes
That's
on.
true. They'll want to spread it out maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. So I think I'm most impacted because I have a lot of movies in the later half of the summer.
Yeah, July and August.
Like Corey, you went front loaded with your picks in May,
Yeah.
while mine are predominantly back half of the summer. Um, like your end of summer movies are just Talk to Me and Meg 2.
Should come out what,
And
mid-summer?
Barbie, but Barbie's definitely coming out in
July.
July. And Talk to Me is not the type of movie that would get pushed back.
No, it's been.
And I don't think Meg 2 would get pushed back. It's a summer movie.
Yeah.
Talk
Talk to Me is definitely not getting pushed back. It's been shown for like almost a year, I think.
Yeah, like I think all yours are safe to come out.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo would be the only one I could see getting pushed back for you, Doug.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Still.
For me, if Aquaman gets pushed to next year, I could see Blue Beetle getting pushed back to end of year.
That's a very good possibility. I didn't even think about that. I think Aquaman could very well get pushed out of this year.
For me, Spider-Man, No Hard Feelings, Indy, Mission Impossible, Haunted Mansion, they'll all definitely come out. I think Strays and Equalizer are safe to come out this summer too, but Blue Beetle is a possibility to get pushed back if they decide to push back Aquaman.
Yeah, because they would want presence in the fall.
Warner Brothers already has a ton of shit in fall. They don't need Aquaman to come out in December. They have Dune, Wonka, and The Color Purple.
And I was just thinking too, like it is kind of weird that you got like the two DC superhero movies coming out in the summer. Like
it just seems like the fire sale, just trying to get rid of all these movies, just like them trying like to get rid of all these TV shows on CW and Max, with the exception of like Peacemaker and Harley Quinn and Teen Titans Go. But yeah, 4 movies in 1 year from DC. Just seems like them just trying to get rid of everything.
But to your point with the writer's strike, they're not going to have content.
They'll have. We know they have Joker next year because that one's already done. But yeah, that's it. They won't have Superman Legacy regardless until summer of 2025. So as of now, the only movie they have coming out in 2024 is Joker in October of 2024. So I could totally see Aquaman getting pushed to summer of 2024.
It's funny because I was reading a rumor over the weekend that they were getting ready to do a set of reshoots for Aquaman in the next couple weeks.
How? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think
were they
underwater stuff.
It must have been written before the writer's strike.
I guess
because otherwise it wouldn't be possible.
Maybe it's an end credit scene. It definitely is not something underwater. That's for sure. That would be. I don't think they'd be able to do that.
Well, I mean, do they even do how much stuff do they even shoot? Do they even shoot anything underwater
for this sequel?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, either way, December is a long time away.
Yeah.
But yeah,
have you guys been hearing about the Deadpool rumors? About superhero stuff.
Are we talking about Deadpool and Spider-Verse?
No, I haven't heard of that.
I've heard a rumor about Deadpool and Spider-Verse.
I heard about that too.
No, I was thinking like the Deadpool versus Wolverine stuff or Logan or whatever they're calling it.
No, what have you heard?
I don't know. They keep talking about like rumors that like different X-Men cast members are signing on.
Well, I know they got a couple more from Deadpool 1 has signed on for the movie. Basically, the entire original Deadpool cast is in it, like Blind Al, Dopinder, Negasonic, Teenage Warhead. What is it? Vanessa? Is that Miranda Bachman's character's
Yeah,
name?
yeah,
Yeah, I know she's
Colossus.
back.
Colossus. Yumiko, is that Negasonic's girlfriend in the second
yeah.
one? She's in it.
Yukiko, yeah.
Yeah, she's in it. Really, the only and Peter, Rob Delaney's character from the second one is back. The only cast members from Deadpool 1 and 2 that haven't been cast yet are brought in are Domino, Russell, and was that his character's name in Deadpool 2? Or is that his name is Wildebeest?
Oh,
Or am I just
I
thinking
don't
the
know who you're talking
character
about.
the character in Up?
I don't remember his name in Deadpool.
And
Who are we talking about?
The kid in Deadpool 2,
Oh,
the teenager.
yeah, I don't remember his name.
Weasel's not coming back. Rusty. I don't. That doesn't. His name is Rusty apparently. No, it's Russell. It was Russell. Russell
Oh, there.
Collins. And Domino. Those are like
Um,
the three not coming back as of now.
Didn't they start filming that
Cable,
like, last week?
Cable, Domino, and Russell. And then Weasel because T.J. Miller's a piece of shit. But I didn't hear any rumors about any other X-Men characters. But I have heard a rumor this past week about Deadpool being in Spider-Verse. Don't know if it's true or not. But I've heard a rumor. I've heard some other rumors about Spider-Verse, which maybe you guys have heard. I won't say it because
Don't say it.
I didn't realize I was just blowing the whistle potentially on that Deadpool one. I thought, Doug, you were going to say what I just said.
No, I guess what I had heard is like Halle Berry for Deadpool 3. There keeps being speculation that it's gonna be.
Oh, Halle Berry. Okay.
Yeah, Halle Berry. Not.
I thought we were talking about Haley Bailey or Haley
No.
Berry is going to be in it. No, I didn't hear about
No,
Halle Berry.
yeah, people keep speculating that they're gonna bring like the X-Men back again, which I think is kind of dumb because they already
Did that?
yeah, they already got like their send off, so like why we're doing it again?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that kind of feels a little bit to me like people are starting to go like Multiverse of Madness.
People are just getting a little too overzealous and crazy with their predictions.
Yeah,
But
I
I think
I don't
that
think
is that one stuck on the Raider strike like Blade and Thunderbolts because neither of those
No.
two can go into
No.
production.
I think Deadpool,
no, they're in production.
Yeah, I saw. I
Deadpool's
think they
in
went into production last week,
So Deadpool and Captain America are in production,
which is
on
weird
on
because
the movie side.
I thought that was weird because I thought those movies were further along, like they were ready to go, and Deadpool was the one lagging. I guess not.
Deadpool was strictly pushed because of Blade release date getting pushed.
Oh,
But yeah, and Thunderbolts I know is fucked now at the moment because of the strike, and Blade's fucked because of the strike. And then on the TV side, I think they've had some shows that had to get paused. I think
I mean, late night TV completely went away, which I feel like no one's noticed.
wait, what was that?
I said late night TV has completely gone away, and I feel like no one's noticed.
what's in its place?
James Corden's lucky that the strike happened right before he got to do his final episode.
Yeah,
What's in late night TV's place right now?
I have
Anything?
no idea.
Probably repeats, if I had to guess. I mean,
Interesting.
they do repeats like
Yeah.
regular like throughout the year, like when there aren't new episodes. But they're going to get to a point where they're just going to start like doing it without writers because they did that last time. I think they went like a month and then they were like, "Screw it, we're going on." Like Conan was like doing just like silly things and like just killing time until the interviews for the first half of the episodes. But
Yeah, because eventually like people need to get paid, and so I think that's the only way to pay them is to start the show back up again. And then it's just gonna be like ridiculous like it was before, where everything's, they're you get a late night host with like no written script trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess if we're talking about the writer's strike and just like general pet peeves right now going on with entertainment. Fucking streaming is becoming a shit show. Um, the change from HBO Max to Max is absolute garbage. Have you been guys been dealing with like the crazy amount of glitches I've been dealing with?
I haven't. The only thing I've watched on it so far is Veep, because I'm working through that, and there's I probably had more glitches or issues while watching like some of those episodes than anything else, and like the app would crash or it
Yeah,
would like flicker and then be fine. It was very weird.
yeah. Like for me, during the Succession series finale, during the entire opening credits, it had the skip intro button just stuck the entire time, which covers people's names, which is incredibly insulting um, to those people. Um, then when it gets to the end of the episode, it immediately pops up like a bunch of things to watch and puts the episode in a little box in the
I
top
hate
corner.
that.
And then I went back to it because I'm like, well, there's a 7 minute like after episode thing that I want to watch. And it immediately cuts, it waits like 5 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, then goes right back to showing three shows. And it's the little box again. It took me like 5 tries before I could finally get to the like post credit, like 7 minute, like about the episode thing. And then maybe three different times throughout the episode, I thought it like skipped. Like it felt like there was a little like lag or like little like the episode was edited poorly. And I think it was a Max related thing and not like
Yeah, like
them
with
rushing to edit the episode like before its release date. But it was super weird. Like I rewound it, I'm like, did it skip like a couple seconds of the episode?
I
And
noticed
it,
like frame rate issues with the app too. Like things would like slow down.
yeah, and then I know this has been a big issue with the writers and with the directors guild is the fact that they're not labeling directors and writers separately. They're listing creators and just putting them
Yeah.
together as one like block. Um,
Yep.
so that's become like a fucking huge thing, which they said will take like a month to fix. Um, I don't know why they just didn't reskin the HBO Max app.
It's
They
mind
could have just
boggling.
changed the logo. That's it.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
Same exact
add the
thing.
new content,
It
and
worked
boom.
Change
completely
the
fine.
color scheme to blue
Yep.
instead of purple, and
Change,
you're
change
done.
the color scheme, add the new content, and you're done.
There was no need to make a new app like that.
It is so less user intuitive than
And nothing
the
on
previous
like
version.
Max just stopped working. There was nothing that was like,
Yeah.
hey, you need to download an app, another app.
They told everyone it was going to automatically update to the new one,
Or
and
did they?
it didn't at all. I didn't even get to the point where I went and tried to watch something and nothing worked. I just went on it. I was like, why is it still on? Why isn't it not giving me the opportunity to update it? And then I went to the app store and saw that there was a new app. So then I just downloaded the new app.
No, I tried to watch something and it's like you're out of region or something.
Yeah,
Is
I
the
got
message
that
I
too.
got.
I was just excited to see the new app, so I didn't bother with doing that.
I wonder if that was
but-
a last minute change where they decided to push a new app instead of an update to the old one.
Doesn't that seems like a completely different? I'm not like an IT guy, but that seems like building an app versus updating an app are two different things.
Not necessarily.
Like I said, I'm not an IT guy, so that's just my speculation.
We had that, and we've got Netflix with its charging extra dollars for users outside of your household.
Has it locked you guys down yet? Because I was watching Netflix and
I don't know.
I haven't gotten a message.
I haven't
or
gotten a
anything.
message yet either because I don't pay for it.
Yeah, I don't pay for it either.
I don't know if like the person who does pay for it has gotten a message.
We're part of the problem, apparently.
Yeah, and I'm not ordering Netflix for myself. It doesn't have any shows anymore.
Yeah.
So I've already said like, yo, you can pay for $8 extra. Like I give you enough stuff on my like I pay for enough things that I share with you. You can pay for the extra $8 if it charges it. Um, but like they're gonna lose so many people watching it, watching their shit. Like
And they're getting such bad press.
they always
right
talk
now.
about how many minutes they get and stuff like that. The minutes are gonna go down so much because they're not gonna get tons of people subscribing because their content fucking sucks in comparison to others.
Yep.
But I guess that's all my complaints about streaming.
So I was just curious because I know we've been taught they've been talking about how like SAG is going to be coming up for voting for this. Now that we're like also talking about like strike too.
Tags the next
SAG's
strike.
also yeah. They're voting now to determine whether or not to strike.
That would be effective the end of the month, the strike, right?
I don't know, but
Or the end of June, I
SAG
think.
the board recommended strike unanimously.
Good. The more all the talent strikes, they gotta fucking make deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, if SAG strikes, then
Everything's done. Like
yeah,
we're in COVID all over again, where no new
Mhm.
content is.
yeah. They were saying that, or what I've been hearing is that nothing's gonna happen until or unless nothing's gonna happen anytime soon unless SAG strikes, and DGA obviously would just be like the fucking that would really shut everything down.
Yeah, the final nail in the coffin. And then, I mean, the thing is, so many writers or so many actors are also writers, so they're already striking in their own way. And then certain directors have to because they're also writers as well, so they can't work on their programs. So it's just a cluster.
And when is that
Yeah.
decision going to be made? By the end of the month?
I thought it was the end of June, but
I would imagine it
I could be
happens.
wrong.
It says that they're scheduled to start negotiations for the 2023 contract on June 7th.
Okay, so it's pretty soon.
Strike authorization. So, assuming a strike authorization is approved by the members, the board can strike anytime after June 30th.
Wow. Yeah, that would shut down the whole industry.
Well, I mean, then things are going to move really quick to get resolved. Right? I mean,
I would think so.
That's what I mean. I imagine it happens, and then it's
this you can kind of like limp along for
You
a
can
while.
work, yeah, you can work around the writer's strike, but you can't work around an actor's strike.
No.
They're needed. They're the most essential part of the process at that point.
We start getting like non SAG actors.
Yeah, like we
And,
just
like,
all become actors at that point.
we could.
Well, then we're scabs.
Yeah, basically, then we're the ones who gotta get like tomatoes thrown at them and shit. To cross in the picket lines.
And our career in acting is over.
Yeah,
After the strike.
Yeah. So,
We'd be on the blacklist as the scabs.
unfortunately, we can't do it. We just can't.
I feel like SAG is probably gonna strike.
Everyone has to because of all the ridiculous
Sounds
stuff with
like it.
AI and.
If you go to the SAG website, I mean, it's all about the strike authorization vote.
I hope they all strike and it leads to better working environment and less bullshit down the road.
There's a video from Fran Dresser about why you should strike.
Yeah, 'cause she's the SAG president, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my other Disney. I was gonna have my other streaming gripe is gonna be with now they're dipping their toes in the release all content at once, a la Netflix. They did that with the American-born Chinese show, which I think they had to strictly in order to get their show out before the Emmy deadline. But they're going to be doing it with Echo in November.
We don't know. There's rumors that Echo is like complete hot garbage,
And that's the reason why they're dropping
Yeah.
it all at once.
and that's the reason why they're just dropping it all to like get rid of it.
Yeah, I read that too.
But you don't put it like weeks after the Marvels, like, and like right after Loki ends. That goes right back into the Marvels putting out too much all at once problem.
Hmm.
Because Loki starts beginning of October and it's 6 episodes, so it's going to lead into November. It's going to overlap with the Marvels or end right when the Marvels gets released in theaters, and the world is ready to hate the Marvels because
Yeah,
look in the world. And then you're going to drop this Echo show like 2 weeks after that, which all at once, which you're saying is a steaming pile of shit.
but they may be hoping that it's close so close that it'll just get buried by all the other content and people won't remember it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Agatha at this point seems like it's going to be a show that's pushed all the way to next October, like be like a Halloweenish type of show. Um, because they're going to need shows for next year. Daredevil has, I think it's still in production, but some days they have issues with filming because people are so loud that are striking outside of
Mhm.
filming. Because anything that is filming in public, they have people picketing outside, and it just makes it impossible to film.
Hmm.
So even when like they have like the writing down, they have difficulty filming. So
Yeah,
I'm
and they try to
surprised that one
block like
squeaked
the
through.
trucks from
yeah,
coming through and all that.
yeah, and like anyone who speaks like in power that's speaking at colleges for like commencement things or anything else, they're getting booed, and like people are showing up there to just cause a ruckus. Um, I don't know. Part of me thinks there's a time and a place for where you should have your tantrums when it comes to these strikes, and not fuck up other people's livelihoods. Um, but then other parts of me understands like, fuck it, if you can make a tantrum anywhere. Like I'm someone who's like, if there's like a senator at a restaurant and you want to start and you want to call shit as long as it's not violent. Um,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm of a mixed mind, and I could see why if people, let's say, or like Zaslav, was I think he was giving a commencement speech, and he was getting booed by the audience. There's a lot of people who are graduating with like writing degrees, um, so I understand them being booing the guy that is one of the problems. Um, Granted, he's far from the only problem.
Hmm.
Um, Many people have to come to agreements. It's not just like one guy. Um, but it's a lot of noise right now. It's not good. Hopefully, we don't have a 100-day strike like we did last time in 0708.
Yeah. Well, like we said, if SAG strikes
It'll be over quick.
Or
July, it looks like is what we're talking
Quicker.
about if they authorize a strike.
but it's
They can strike.
possible that SAG can make a deal and the writers still get only some of the things they want and they're still striking.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Um,
It'll resolve
they'll have more
because
leverage at least.
like the chat GBT stuff and all that will get resolved
Good.
for sure.
Fuck that AI nonsense.
Because that's SAG's also going to be striking over that if they strike. So that'll get resolved for both, I would guess. But I agree. There's SAG's not going to solve all of the writers' qualms, and so
Yeah, and they got to come to all of them have to come to terms on streaming and like where money comes post release. Because I mean, the last time they were making deals about DVD sales and like
Hmm.
cable television and shit. It was a completely different world.
yeah, yeah. I've heard from writers that have said that, like that were talking online that were just saying like, yeah, when they were negotiating and they were trying to get into streaming, um, the studios were like, oh no, we're not going to use streaming for like content, like that'll never happen.
Yeah, sure.
And they were like, yeah, sure. Like, here we are. It's a completely different world from the last time.
Yeah, I know Seth Rogen was somebody who was saying like the only reason they don't report their streaming numbers is because then that would give everyone else more leverage in how much they should actually be making. Um, they really need to figure out a way for streaming, like viewership to actually be released. Um,
And that'll give everybody more insight into how successful or not successful shows are. Because right
yeah,
now there's like you have an idea, but you don't really know.
I mean, I'd love to know why Netflix cancels every show after season one. Um, Not every show, but I don't know. I think it's fair to say 66% of their shows are probably canceled after season one.
At least,
Um,
yeah.
Nothing runs long on that channel anymore.
Three
Um,
seasons, maybe.
yeah, the most anything's gone is 7 seasons
Mm.
so far, and those are like the shows that like kicked off Netflix. Um,
Witcher, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually ends after this season and the Hemsworth uh, season doesn't even happen.
Possible, but I mean everything's running shorter now. Like HBO is getting the point where 4 seasons is becoming more of the norm. 4 or 5 seasons, 3 to 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back in the day, it was 6 and 7 were like the numbers for their long running shows. But Barry and Succession both just ended in 4. Um, Atlanta on FX ended in 4. Just becoming more common for shows to have shorter seasons, have longer gaps between seasons, and for them to run with less seasons.
Less episodes too. I mean,
Yep,
we're like
exactly.
completely out of like used to be like 20 something episodes for some shows, and
Oh yeah,
now
I don't know if network shows even do the 20 something anymore, but cable used to be consistent at 13, and then it went down to 10, then 8. Like regularly see like 6 episode shows now. It's more like British television.
yeah, British always was like interesting 4 episode TV
Yeah,
show.
yeah, exactly.
It's like a
Oh,
movie
a new
basically.
season of Sherlock, 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Um,
Yeah, and we don't know what will happen once ads get reintroduced back into the equation, how that'll affect
Yeah,
things.
now all the streaming platforms are all adding ads back. They're all now they're openly talking about wanting to bundle all the streaming platforms together into packages.
Welcome back, cable.
Yeah, exactly. It's cable 2.0. Um,
Yep.
I mean, there'd be 0 point for cable if it wasn't for live events. That's the only reason to have any sort of cable is
And they're
sport.
slowly shifting over to streaming. I mean,
Exactly.
Sunday tickets, YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can find Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. They are starting to roll out playoff games on like Peacock and Amazon Prime. Obviously, wrestling's all over Peacock. Everything's slowly moving over to streaming. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's going to get to the point where cable is 100% irrelevant. Even like a YouTube TV is mostly irrelevant.
Yeah, once the older generation is gone, yeah, I mean, I don't think cable's going to be really serve a purpose anymore outside of sporting events, which I could very easily, like we just talked about, see move over. So
Yeah, exactly. Even the award shows, I think, have mostly moved to streaming at this point because the ratings are so low now. Because
yeah,
nobody watches the same shit anymore, just because there's so many things on television.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to air them on a network television channel.
I never watch live TV except for sports. That's it.
Yeah, live TV, award show, and like some news stuff. That is the only live things I ever watch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know we just went off on like 5 different tangents, but this is the type of shit we talk about before and after the episode ends, and I think we're pretty fucking passionate about it. So I'm glad we talked about it. Want to dive into Barry? Talk about the final season.
Yeah, we could do a quick chat about Barry. I know Corey, you're probably gonna mute since you haven't seen Barry and probably would like to see Barry at some point in time.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself out of
Can you
out of the equation.
Can you throw up just like a spoiler
Yeah, absolutely.
thing? Just in case. I mean, Barry just came out or just released the last episode 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's been series finale week. We had Succession end. I'm the only one who watches that one. So when we get to the Emmy talk in like July or between July and September, by that point, I imagine both Doug and Corey will watch it so we can really dive into Succession. Um, White Ass Plumbers was a mini series that just ended last night. Solid. I recommend it.
I gotta watch that one.
And then Ted Lasso, we will definitely be talking about on our next episode. We're not 100% sure if it's a series finale or if it's a pivot to a spinoff show or if it just continues as Ted Lasso. But we'll talk about that in our next one. But Barry is something that has definitively ended, and it is one where two of us have watched it. So we will talk about that for our future presentation. We'll do not too deep a dive. It's not going to be anything like Better Call Saul. But we'll share our thoughts about season 4, how we thought it compared to previous seasons, and what we ultimately thought about the ending of the show and if we were satisfied or not. So, Doug, what were your ultimate feelings on this final season, final episode, and its tone, and compared to the rest of the show? How did it work for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it was definitely a very different, in my opinion, a very different tone overall than the seasons that came before it. Um, it was definitely like a darker tone. Like it still had comedic aspects to it, but definitely went a lot heavier into the dark tone. Um, I think this season was a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I wouldn't say it wasn't the strongest season in my view.
What would you say was? For me, it was season 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back. The problem with Barry, just like we were just kind of talking about with a lot of TV shows, is the gaps that they take
Yeah, and
in
season
between.
season 1 and 2 were like before the pandemic.
Yeah, it just like it's. I'd have to go back and watch them. It's like not fair for me to compare the seasons because it's been so long since that show aired. But I, th- one of the things that I mean, so we had characters take like very big turns from who they were throughout the season. I think some of it was interesting. There was some comedy played in for it a little in all the turns that the characters took, but I mean, I think NoHo Hank. I think the direction that he went was a very like tragic and dark direction, and it forced the character to be very serious a lot of throughout the season, especially like towards the latter half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
With the
and I
exception of
think
the second to last episode, which was like, I think the tour de force of like bringing back classic NoHo Hank,
yeah,
with like the rocket launcher and the heads in the box, and him being like super horny over the
yeah,
that army who was fucking terrible.
yeah. You're
Um,
right. The second to last episode was kind of a revisit of old NoHo Hank, and I wish we got. I guess where I was going with that is I wish we got we he was like the NoHo Hank that we liked throughout the entire season because I think the actor I can't remember his name,
Anthony
but I think
Carrigan.
Anthony Carrigan. I mean, I thought he did a good job with the serious stuff. Um, but that's not what I loved about NoHo Hank. I liked his more comedic
Yeah.
character, and so I thought he was kind of as a character done a little bit of a disservice with where they took him just because he couldn't shine as much from a comedic standpoint. Um, I mean, Fuchs kind of went in a weird direction too.
Fuchs is the most fucking flip floppy character in the world. His motivations changed like every single episode. Like
He's like where they took him in like the flash forward
the
was he
vulture
just was like yeah or he
or
was
the
just like
Raven, the Raven.
the Raven, yeah, he was just like a completely different character who he had been before, and it was interesting. It just like I mean he was not Fuchs at all by that point. He was like the
No,
Raven.
he was a hardened criminal by
Yeah,
that point.
so that was a little weird for me. Although he did have some funny moments too.
Oh yeah.
And then I think, Barry,
Barry was in the background for a lot of the season.
he was. He got some cool scenes, especially towards the end. He got, um, I mean, they really. He's always been like a despicable character.
Yes.
He was like his most despicableness in this season.
But he was always likable to a degree because it's Bill Hader.
That's true, but his
His
likableness
likability went
like
downhill a lot.
yeah, this especially like once you flash forward and
Yeah.
stuff
He
like
became insufferable, like with his like super religious, like no, like just looking for any excuse to be like forgiven to justify his actions. Um,
yeah,
like that last scene with him and Sarah Goldberg. What? Sorry, what is her character's name?
Sally
Sally. In the bed where she's trying to get him to like
turn
confess.
himself in.
Yeah, and he's just like, "You're tired. Like we'll talk about. We'll in the morning. We'll move out. We'll move on. Everything will be all right." Just be in like complete denial. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he got real bad toward in the flash forward stuff.
Yeah, he got like I said, he got his most despicableness, especially like as he was horrible as a husband and a father.
Yes,
Um Clearly
manipulating his
like
son. He couldn't even play baseball or do anything in public.
which I mean I get like I think it was kind of cool that they went that route. Like I actually didn't completely hate that choice when they did the flash forward because it kind of showed like you kind of wanted Barry and Sally to wind up together a little bit because Bill Hader was like a likable character, and they did have some chemistry. Although Barry was a horrible person. Like we always knew Barry was a horrible person,
Exactly.
and
And
so you got to see that.
we always knew Sally fell for like abusive type
Yeah,
relationship.
exactly. And so like they gave you like that like sure you want to see what it's like for these two to be together. They're together, and it was fucking horrible. Like their marriage was horrible. Their relationship was like horrible. Their his parents they were
She
horrible.
was a horrible mother. He was a horrible father, but in his own way.
Yep.
He was a horrible father, but in a way where his son didn't realize he was a horrible father, because he was loving but manipulative. The same way he was manipulative with like plenty of other characters on the show.
Yeah.
While she was just completely distant and like
Drunk out of her mind most of the time.
yeah, exactly. Because she's like, damn, I made the wrong fucking decision. I should not have left for Barry.
Yeah, she was just completely miserable in her life.
Yeah.
I thought she played that really well. Uh, she put there was that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say she gave the performance of the season for me.
Yeah, no, I thought she crushed it. She played a lot of different characters, and she like she even had to play that like waitress, southern
Yeah.
like waitress
Yeah,
character,
which is perfect for her because she was an aspiring actress.
Yeah, um, yeah, she definitely was a standout for me too. I was just thinking back to like this season, um, that like the break-in
Which
stuff
which break in?
with the guy. It's like a slender guy and like
which was
all
like a
dark.
horror movie.
Yeah,
Dude,
the fuck was that?
I can't wait for Bill Hader to do a horror movie because that shit was scary.
But like, was that all just for like Bill Hader to fuck around?
I don't know what that was.
I haven't gone back to rewatch it, and I don't know if it'll add anything to it. But I was just like, what am I watching right
I mean,
now?
it looked like the guy's body type could have been the guy she choked out in the bathroom. Um, and then like instead he leaves and crashes the car into the house. I don't know. I don't know what exactly that fucking drunk fever dream, whatever the hell it was. Um,
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, didn't really add much to the story either.
I mean, all it did was it made Sally go to LA. Like that
Yeah.
was the catalyst for her leaving the middle of nowhere and going back to Hollywood.
Yeah, it was just odd.
It was odd. It was most definitely odd. The detour into the future was definitely the most polarizing thing. Like the show was bleak as hell, especially that just that one episode that was fully focused on them in like 8 years in the future. Um,
Yeah, and I liked it. I mean, I thought it was. I liked kind of seeing how that played out. I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't mind the bleakness, but I mean, for a final season, I don't know that was the entire cast was ultimately served well by the route they went.
somebody that would say was served well is Henry Winkler. Um, man, how lucky is he to have gotten this role? Like, like he's been the Fonz since the fucking 70s. Like he has finally gotten to really stretch his legs as an actor on this role. I mean, he's been hilarious in other things like Arrested Development. Um, he's been funny in plenty of Adam Sandler movies over the years, but he really got to act on Barry, and
Yeah,
he crushed it. He is him. Oh man, his character just this season, like what a journey he went on and how he ultimately just turned right back into himself the moment he finds out Daniel Day-Lewis wants to play him in a movie. It just he goes from being this noble guy fighting the cause for a movie about his girlfriend's death not to be made to somebody saying Daniel Day-Lewis wants to play him. He immediately wants to have the meeting and is willing to flip the story into whatever he needs to say for this movie to get made, because ultimately he's a whore for fame. um, that's
yeah,
just who his character is. He's just narcissistic, um, just an asshole. Uh, I loved it, and tragic ending for him.
yeah. I mean, he had the most tragic ending. I
Um,
think.
yeah,
Well, I'm not. I mean,
Salad.
no, Hank probably had the.
Yeah, no, I mean no, Hank. Yeah, it's a toss up, I guess you could say, for the two of them.
I mean, no, Hank
Oh,
killed
Hanks
the
was
love of his life, and then
yes, but he was a criminal. Like it was more choice based for him, while Gene was situation based. He didn't make his bad choice until it was too late, where he'd already been framed, like not framed, but they are the police had become convinced that he was responsible for his girlfriend's death. Um, and then at that point, he fucking had just lost it and couldn't bear to fucking look at Barry for one more second. Um, that cut to black. I was like, damn, did you just Sopranos us? And like, and then that's the very end. Would have been ballsy. Would have been cool. Would you?
but
What'd
they
you think
did
about?
not do that.
What'd you think about the epilogue? How scathing that was, towards like Hollywood and the types of films they make about people. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the epilogue was interesting. So it it was kind of just a vehicle. In my eyes, it was just a vehicle to show us the movie that got made.
yeah,
um, which you know, obviously, like we've seen the Barry story play out, and it was nothing played out nothing like what actually happened. Um, with Barry being cast as like a
who's
noble guy
yeah,
and like kind of like the
who's
hero.
manipulated and forced into doing these things,
Well, not even he.
or
They
no,
didn't even
yeah,
have him do
yeah,
it. Kusino was
yeah,
like a mob boss.
you're right. Kusno is the one dealing with the Chechens, and he was the one who murdered his girlfriend. Yeah.
And he murdered the other guy that was in the acting class.
Yeah, he murdered from season one.
Yeah, they
Man.
pinned both of those on him, and then Barry just like got stuck taking the fall.
Yeah, Barry gets
Cause and
Barry
then
gets
at,
Barry gets buried in Arlington National Cemetery. It's fucking so ridiculous. with like
Yeah.
honors and everything. Because how did he?
Yeah,
Was he originally discharged, like dishonorably discharged?
I thought so.
I thought so too.
Because he goes on that like rant page and kills
Yeah, he
like all the
kills the
civilians.
yes when after his buddy gets shot. Um, and then he tells the story to his kid that he's like saves his friend. Meanwhile, he's murdering people. And that's when his fucking downfall like really begins. Um, but yeah, like he turns out to be then in his son's eye now he's a hero again, despite Sally earlier telling your dad's a murderer. Um, her her not wanting him to see the movie when they said when the kids like oh like your mom should not let you see this movie. I thought it was going to be because like it shows Barry as Barry, but it fucking flips the script and has him be this hero. And then like at the end, his son's looking so proud of his dad. Um, I thought it
Yeah,
was
and the entire
I
like
thought that was
country,
genius. Yeah,
you
the
know,
our country
he's now like a hero too.
and Gene's in jail for life. And his fucking lawyer is the one who gets him convinces Barry to fucking give himself up. And then right after he says, "Okay, I'll do it," Gene comes out and fucking with Rip Torn's gun shoots him. That was just that was wild.
Yeah, I mean,
And Barry
when
wasn't.
Kusuno had the when Kusuno had the gun,
I thought he was gonna kill himself.
yeah, I did too. And I thought he was looking at the gun before he probably heard that Barry was there.
He
So
was.
I kind of took it as like he was considering killing himself, and then he heard Barry, and a lot of that rage or whatever he was feeling, he was anger towards Barry.
Yeah.
Um, which obviously didn't end well for him because
If he didn't kill Barry, he would have been fucking. He would have got his name cleared. I mean, it probably would have been. He would have still been in some shit. I mean, he took $250,000 from the person that he knew killed his girlfriend, and he kept information from the cops for so long. And my God, that fucking one man show he did for the reporter, that was one of the highlights of the season. Just that man is an absurd character. But then they also didn't even have Barry involved in the final shootout of the show.
nope. Which I had a feeling that was gonna happen. Once they had like both sides on either side, I was like, he's probably not. And Barry's all loaded up. I was like, they're all gonna kill each other. He's gonna show up with the guns, like ready for a shootout, and there's not gonna be anybody left.
And Fuchs gave the out too. Like he legitimately was gonna back out the moment he saw Barry's son. Like it changed everything. Like he just wanted Fuchs to, or he just wanted Noah Hank to feel like the guilt that like every other character on this show feels, and not be a phony. Um, but Noah Hank couldn't do it. Did you notice Fuchs jumps on Barry's kid to protect him? Because I didn't.
Yeah, I did see that.
You did see that? Okay. I need to go back
Yeah,
and rewatch
yeah.
that.
You see him get up, and he's like over the kid.
I thought that's a nice touch.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I was like, how the fuck did he survive?
Yeah, and I guess Sally went behind a pillar or something because she was off to the corner.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. It looked like, did she get shot or? Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not
I
sure, 'cause
still
it took her a
like,
while
even though
to
they
see
tried to, they tried to show how they like survived. I thought it was like, you know,
I mean,
bullets are flying the way that they're flying in that fucking
yeah.
room, and
Well,
everyone's dead.
thankfully they weren't by the grenade, which just one final hilarious scene of violence on that show. Just a last
Yeah,
second grenade going off and killing like 3 people.
yeah, and I liked how they had like the aftermath. The way didn't focus on it, focus on the characters walking through the aftermath.
Mhm.
I like the way that scene was set up, and like people are clearly alive still. Fuchs is trying to like hide the kid's eyes from like all the carnage that is surrounding them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I like that.
What
There's definitely some like well shot stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean Hader did a fantastic job directing this season. Directed every single episode. Um, I'd say the most horrific scene of the season was the sand silo, um, and everyone getting killed in that, um, and Cristobal being down there like trying like his damnedest not to fucking drown in the sand.
Yeah.
That scene was like horrifying. Um, yeah, there was nothing as impressive as the highway chase the Hater did last season,
No, I
um,
agree.
but just well directed throughout the season, and I cannot wait to see him start to do films next. I believe.
Yeah, I think it was a nice show for him to kind of develop some style and to develop the skills to move on to like a big budget.
Henry Winkler, I was reading an interview with him the other day after the finale, and he's like, I know for a fact Bill Hader didn't come to Hollywood to act. He came to direct. He just happened to get the SNL gig, and that's what like turned into acting for so long. And now finally, like he's gone into directing thanks to Barry. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard haters say that before. Like he did not. He either wanted to act or write. He didn't want to.
or
I mean, not act or
okay,
write. He wanted to direct or write. He had no desire to be an actor. He just the SNL thing happened to kind of fall in his lap, and so he went with that, and that's kind of how he wound up being. But yeah, him and the fuck's his name?
Jordan Peele,
No, although Jordan, you can put Jordan Peele on that list too. Um,
Zach Krager,
Ben
Barbarian.
Stiller.
Oh, okay.
Um, Ben Stiller was another one that really wanted to be a director and wanted getting stuck doing comedy for so long, and now he's directing
Yeah.
again.
It's interesting how all these comedians like go in the like they're also becoming like genre filmmakers. Like Jordan Peele went from sketch comedy to doing all of these social commentary related horror adjacent type films. Zach Krager did From the Whitest Kids You Know, another sketch comedy. Troop goes on to Barbarian. Now his next movie is another bigger budgeted horror movie with Pedro Pascal. Can't wait for that. Um, Bill Hader, he has said his first movie is going to be a horror movie. Um, and then, I mean, Ben Stiller doesn't necessarily, he doesn't do horror, but he does like, I guess, sci-fi to a degree with Severance. Would you say it's science fiction, right?
Yeah, it's definitely science fiction, and it's definitely very like
It's
it's
on the
artsy.
yeah,
It's
it's
yeah, it's
everyone's
very
going,
deep.
they're all doing more like serious stuff. Um,
Yeah, and everyone's kind of going with like I think they're all going to leaning towards genres. I think where you can experiment more and
mhm.
do things. You can do things that are different instead of just like the documentary or the action movie or just like the things that are pretty formulaic.
Yeah,
So, which makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
if they have a choice, but yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I'm glad Hader's finally getting to do what he actually wanted to do.
without a doubt. Um, but yeah, as far as I guess my final thing, well, I guess a two part. As far as sitcoms go, how high would you say this is on your list over the past, let's say, since the 2000s? I mean, like your top 20, your top 10.
Yeah, so I haven't thought about where to put it. When you said sitcom, that felt kind of wrong to
It's
call it a sitcom.
I don't know what to call it. I
It's
know
like a
it's
dark
it's 30 minutes.
comedy drama.
It's not a drama. It's
It's
not
more of a drama
comedy.
than a comedy, I think.
I
It's
would go
well, I
it's
guess
I
he's
would go
light.
it's more a comedy, but it's like 55% comedy, 45% drama, but it leans more comedy. While I would say Succession is more 55% drama, 45% comedy. Um, and I don't know if I'm maybe be just the star of the show being a comedian and the fact that it's 30 minutes just makes me more biased to think that. But I'd also put Atlanta on the comedy side, and it's a similar type of tone where there's lots of dramatic elements to it as well.
Yeah.
The definition of a comedy has just gotten so it's just not the same as what it was prior to the 21st century.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can place Barry yet. I enjoyed it as a show. I thought it was good. Um, I looked forward to it. I think it, you know, I was satisfied with the ending. Um, it was good. I mean, it's definitely like above average. I just don't know where in the above average I'd stick it if it would be top 20. I'd
Yeah.
have to like list it out in my head and try to figure out where to put it, but it's definitely like on the upper half. I just it's hard to figure out where for me at the moment to put it.
Yeah. Um, Same. I mean, I'd probably say it was
Top 20.
a top 20. Um, Definitely not top 10. Um, but I'd probably say top 20. Um, all
Yeah,
around. I thought it was
I
just
could see that if
a
I thought
solid
about
show.
it.
And
Yeah.
it ended in a satisfying way, which plays a big part. And I thought it got better ultimately as it went along, for the most part. Um, so yeah, but yeah, like you said, it's tough to really call it a comedy. Like you can't compare it with um, Happy Days. I'm just using
Like The
another
Office.
Henry Winkler show. But yeah, or if you want to go in the 2000s, yeah, like Arrested Development or The Office. Um, they're just the tones are completely different. Um, they really need some sort of a new category, um, because drama and comedy are there is such a middle ground now in the types of shows that are made.
The dramedy.
Yeah. And then anyone on the show or anything about the show that you would be like an Emmy favorite this year?
Um, for acting,
Yeah. Or the show. Um, Writing, directing, anything like that.
so I don't think Hader teed himself up to get directing because I don't know that there was anything like that motorcycle episode or from last season. I don't think he had anything like splashy enough. Um, I think I'm gonna say probably not on writing. I mean, he can certainly get nominated, but I don't think he'd win. Um, on the writing or directing, so then that leaves acting. I mean, I thought performance wise, I thought Sarah Goldberg did, had some standout performances. She had probably a couple episodes where you could take that performance and showcase it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I agree with you too. Like with Henry Winkler, I think he also had some performances that you could probably showcase. So I think from this season, maybe those two. Um, but that's probably all I see for Emmys.
Yeah, I like if I was a voter, Sarah Goldberg would be probably my best. I guess she would go up for um, best actress in a comedy, and she would be my pick for that. I could see Anthony Carrigan and um, Henry Winkler, both as potential winners for supporting actor. Um, I can't see Hader. I don't. He didn't do enough.
Yeah.
But I could see him being nominated for a lot of shit, um, like comedy, director, writer,
Yeah, he'll get nominated, or I
actor.
could definitely see him getting nominated. I don't think he'll win
He
any of
did.
those.
He wrote a bunch of the episodes, right?
I think so. He's been a co-writer all along, so
Yeah, I'm pulling it up too.
yeah, I'm trying to pull up the IMDb.
Barry season 4. Yeah, he wrote just. I mean, the first episode alone this season he wrote.
Okay.
He wrote the first episode, the fifth episode, and the last episode, and then directed all of them. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll be nominated for at least 4 awards. In the writing and directing categories, it's possible he gets nominated multiple times because you can do that. So yeah, it's really those supporting actors that I think got the best stuff. And I think I said it to you in a text, but man, Gene's lawyer fucking had me in stitches like through this season. So many of the different scenes with him and Gene, I was just dying. Like the scene where they break into the reporter's house and you see him in the background throwing the computer into the pool and being like, all the information it's on the screen, and Henry Winkler being like, I'm pretty sure it's on like the like the hard drive,
Terminal. Yeah.
yeah, and I'd be like, no, it's definitely on the screen, and just seeing him throw it, it so goddamn funny. I hope he
Yeah.
whatever he's capable of being nominated in, he gets nominated. Um, and Stephen Root probably should be nominated as well for Fuchs. Um,
Yeah. I don't know if he will, but I wouldn't be upset
yeah,
if he does.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if he will either. I mean, he's such a character actor where they aren't always noticed, but he did some impressive work. I mean, he actually was like a menacing figure in those last few episodes
Yeah. When he
with
fully
his
became the Raven.
with his fellow blood artists, the Ravens flock. That whole conversation about how to drown out the noise if there's any more murders in the house was fucking hilarious. They're getting into a whole conversation about the Fast and the Furious series. I was just like, this is brilliant. I love it so much.
Yeah, I figured you would love the when they started talking about the Fast and the Furious.
Which movie was this one in? And I'm just like, oh, this is great. This is so good. Um, just such a good satire of Hollywood, and then just this country and violence, and just a damn well made show. I'm glad we got it. And a fun fact about the show, about how overshadowed that it has gotten. It season finale to season 2 aired the same night as the Game of Thrones series finale, and then the series finale aired the same night as the series finale of Succession. The two biggest HBO shows, um, as far as the zeitgeist goes, maybe with the exception in between being The Last of Us, ratings wise, and House of the
Yeah.
Dragon. But as far as like the online like critics talking, Succession was the successor to Game of Thrones. So the fact that it's season 2 finale and it's season 4 finale both aired the same nights as those shows series finales, I just find funny.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, they know that Barry's not appointment television,
No,
so I think
it had a niche following.
yeah, and I like I wasn't sitting there waiting for Sunday to watch Barry. I'd watch it like Monday or Tuesday usually.
Yeah, I mean it
'Cause
was one
that's
I watched the same night, but in between after Succession, I was like, I need to digest a bit before I watch the Barry finale. Like, it just feels wrong jumping right from one to the other.
yeah,
Um, And Succession did their finale better. I know it's a completely different type of show, but I think Succession's a show where the season finales are all just fucking killer. They it's rare where a show like each season, like the season finale is like just so like one of if not the best episodes of the season. But I'll be very interested to see what you guys both have to say about it this summer. Before we get into all like who we're hoping we win for Emmy nominations, I'm still hoping. I'm hoping beyond hope that Bob Odenkirk can pull out a win for Best Actor in a Drama, because the three Succession lead actors will all cancel each other out, and Bob fucking squeaks in like John Hamm and Matthew Rhys have done before on their final seasons of
Not
Mad
gonna
Men
happen.
and The Americans.
No one even like remembers Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul anymore.
You shut your whore mouth, Doug.
It's a distant memory.
It just got on Netflix. It's like a top 10 show on there, I think.
That's one I'm definitely gonna watch by myself.
You gotta watch it, Corey, man.
No, I'm definitely going to.
I need you to watch it. I need Freeberg to watch it. Anyone who hasn't watched Better Call Saul that loves Breaking Bad, I need Kravar to watch it. You guys need to watch the fucking show. It's so goddamn good.
That's gonna be a tough one for people because it like starts out as something completely different. And then
I started watching it back when it came out. I just didn't stick.
Yeah, because it really does evolve so much. Like
the original show.
The more it goes, the more it turns into like Breaking Bad level intensity. Man, that I need to watch the series finale of that one again. At some point. And I mean the whole show I'll need to watch again at some point. But yeah, it'll be fun to talk TV and talk all the shows from this past year. When Emmy nominations come out in July. But yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. I think our next episode we'll probably do a deep dive on Spider-Verse, if I have to guess.
And Ted Lasso, right?
And Ted Lasso, yeah. I think that'll probably be our next episode. We'll talk box office. We'll talk Ted Lasso, our thoughts on season 3 and what is potentially the series finale. And then we will talk Across the Spider-Verse, because it is the sequel to one of Doug's favorite movies of all time, his favorite comic book movie of all time. Hype is high. We'll see if it lives up to it. But, I mean, like as Corey said earlier today, it's apparently when God's gift to Earth and, like, changing the medium of animation and like,
changing the game.
Yeah, it's like one of the greatest sequels ever. Even better
changing animation. People are saying it's like the best movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the Citizen Kane of our time.
Yeah, exactly. Animation's blown out of the water, Murph.
I'm sorry.
Into all film.
All right, so we have to talk. We're not talking Oscar Best Animation. We're going straight to Best Picture now.
Maybe best thing ever put out on a medium, of any kind. Books, television,
one of the
movies.
We did have the
video games.
I don't think I can like jokingly top that one review where they were just like every shot of the movie should be in a museum.
Yep, that was. I got nauseous reading that. I didn't even finish the article because that.
It's so goddamn absurd the things people will say. I can't wait.
Clicks.
Doug, you're seeing it this weekend, correct?
I'm seeing it Friday night.
Oh yeah, this is your big Friday night week, and you're seeing the Flash on Friday. You have two.
No,
Friday
I lied. No.
Okay.
I'm not getting that crazy.
Okay.
I lied. I'm seeing it Saturday night. Flash is Friday night.
Flash is a Friday night birthday movie. No, Spider-Verse we're seeing Friday night.
Friday night, okay.
And Flash we're seeing Thursday night.
Review embargo ends.
It's got to be tomorrow.
It's got to be tomorrow.
Tomorrow at noon?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Everyone says May 31st, but I don't see the...
It's going to be tomorrow. It has to be. There's no way.
Yeah, it definitely is tomorrow. I just don't know what time it lifts. Probably around noon. I think you're right, Murph. It's usually when they lift it, right?
Yeah.
Noon here.
Yeah,
10
noon
a.m.
here and on
EST.
it. Exactly.
I'm just surprised with how good because they allowed the first reactions to come out earlier than they were.
Yeah, they earlier than they were supposed to. The embargo, like they lifted it, like a week earlier.
Yeah,
Than
but you couldn't talk in detail, right?
I mean,
No.
yeah, you can't get too in depth, or then it's just a straight up review.
Yeah.
Although people are pushing the envelope on these like reactions.
No
I'm
surprise.
sure the studio doesn't like.
As long as the review's glowing.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
They're not gonna say anything.
Um,
It's all good press.
yeah, and just hopefully they just don't get too spoilery, and we just got to avoid those void spoilers for these upcoming films.
Flash is gonna be a difficult one.
We got 2 weeks to go for that, so
I'm still going strong, but there's some landmines out there apparently.
yes, one of our friends saw the big one, and he has been trying to get it out of his mind ever since. But he said we will all be very happy with it. So that's at least a good thing.
Yeah, I heard it was something where like the theater like applauded.
Nice. That's why I hope it's a crowded movie theater. But with a 70 million opening, you're not getting a crowded movie theater
No.
unless you're in a premium one. On like on a Thursday night, that's like when you're going to get your rowdy crowd.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
I'm hoping
definitely
for
want to go. I want to go again that weekend and see it in IMAX, like Sunday of that week, maybe. That weekend.
I want to see The Blackening at some point that weekend.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
or the following week. That's one of those movies where I think maybe we should have picked that one.
That
I don't think so. I haven't heard anyone talk about that movie.
We do.
trailer's funny.
I know. I agree. I after I saw the trailer, I was like, Murph, this trailer looks really funny.
Mhm.
It's a
Um,
bad release date. So many movies coming out that day.
Yeah, they should have held that to like.
Granted, they're all
should've been a
targeting
fall
different demos. People going to see Elemental aren't seeing The Blackening. I mean, we're going to be the only people that go see. I will be the only person who goes to see Asteroid City, The Blackening, The Flash, and Elemental, and watch.
I mean, it looks
Extraction
like
2 on Netflix.
it looks like there are no people that are going to see Elemental, so we
That's
don't have to
true.
worry
Good.
about that.
Good point. That's
I
fair.
mean, I'll definitely be at Asteroid City. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'll definitely be
And-
seeing that one.
Yeah.
Friday night in the good theater for The Flash, it's still
Weak sauce.
75% empty.
That's not good.
I wonder what it looks like here. Here, let me look.
Well, our showing is dead, Corey, because we're not going to a premium showing.
No, I'm just thinking in general, like the premium showings that night.
I think they were pretty solid. We're also in one of the biggest markets, though, so it's tough
Yeah.
to compare with Doug's.
Yeah, I mean it's every theater looks pretty open. I could get like good seats still for The Flash.
But in order for a movie to break out, we need it to be big in your market versus big in our market.
I think that I mean
We get crowds for fucking movies like Black Swan. I just threw out a really old movie. That movie actually made a lot of money, so bad example. But we get
Then
crowds for art house movies.
a non-premium theater showing on opening night at 10:45 p.m.
Three
Not
people.
a single person has gotten a seat
Yeah, that's not
for
good.
that showing.
That's not good.
Yeah.
We have
I
an
don't
eight,
think it's
we have an 8:30 regular Thursday night, and there's like 6 people in the theater.
So I checked the 7:45 on Friday night for Flash at Garden State and at Wayne, and there's a lot of seats.
DC's poison, man.
A lot of seats.
That's why
Yeah,
I know you guys are like all, not you guys, but people in general are like James Gunn can turn DC around. It might be too difficult at this point to turn it around outside of just Batman movies.
Actually, the Garden State IMAX, there's not one seat that was picked. They're all empty.
In what time?
7:45 p.m.
On Friday night?
Friday night.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
7:45 in IMAX at Garden State
Seven-
does not have
all right.
one seat selected.
Here, I'm gonna send this to you.
It's a little tougher to see now because they have those premium seats.
Yeah, but red is selected, and none of them are red.
I don't
That-
believe that.
that would
look
be
at the
it. All
picture.
right, all right, all right.
I think you're looking at the. Do you have the right date? Are you in June?
Yeah, I'm in June. Oh, okay. So
All
okay,
right.
this makes a little bit more sense. Selected is one, and then occupied is really what I'm looking for. Okay, so that makes sense. But still, look at all the X's. There's not. It's like the middle section of the theater, all the preferred.
I'm pulling it up now.
I read it wrong. Selected is like an identifier for yourself when you select a seat.
What are we looking at? 745 IMAX.
Yeah, just the picture I sent you.
I didn't get the picture. On Friday night.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's not empty, but yeah, it's
Because I can't
there's
see
still
the picture.
plenty of seats left.
Yeah, it's not empty, but
The whole like middle.
the preferred
kinda
area.
booked
is
up.
all
The
full.
good seats are taken. Nothing outside. The good seats are taken. Really? Yeah, it should be more full than that.
Yeah, I think this movie's gonna underperform. It's 70 million.
That's Friday night at 7:45. I'm actually shocked.
just-
I thought that'd be sold out.
I'm gonna take a peek at
Spider-Verse is gonna look better. That's what you're going to look at.
No, I'm not looking at Spider-Verse because that would be just that opens this weekend, so it's skewed. I'm gonna take a look at Indy and see what their IMAX at Friday, 7 o'clock. They don't 7:30. Similar. Less. A little less. Comes out 2 weeks after. But again, I haven't even bought my empty tickets because it's you got to manage your A-list tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like right now, I have Across the Spider-Verse and The Flash. But I think I'll
But yeah, it's
probably
really disappointing to see the Flash sales so far.
well,
Pretty shocking.
we'll see what happens. Like I said, Father's Day is that Sunday, so I'll probably have a solid hold on Sunday. And it could be a word of mouth movie because I mean it is supposed to be great. Another movie, I mean, it's supposed to be one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Greatest.
Spider-Verse just
Yeah.
looks so much better when I'm looking through the like tickets sold.
Yeah, let me take a look at Spider-Verse now.
It's supposed to be huge.
Spider-Verse Friday.
It's been better too. It's not just the fact that it's opening or it's opening tomorrow or Friday or Thursday.
Oh yeah, Spider-Verse is practically sold out for Friday at 7:45 in IMAX. It's like the worst seats. Only the worst seats are available. Like the front two rows. Is basically all
Yeah.
that's available.
Ticket sales look a lot healthier for Spider-Verse. Flash looks like really bad.
We're going to Dolby at 10 p.m. and that's practically sold out
For Spider-Verse.
for Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Flash, you could still get whatever seat you want.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, I don't understand how. I mean, like you said, DC's poison, but I thought for sure they could generate more hype. But yeah, I mean, it explains why they're in panic mode for Flash.
Yeah, if Flash underperforms, then it's going to be real interesting what they do with Blue Beetle and Aquaman.
Yeah. I mean, they're coming out. It's just like
How?
if anything gets
What?
pushed or they just are just like fuck it, let's not spend a lot of marketing.
I mean, I thought about like Aquaman going on like HBO Max or Max, but I don't think they would do that. It's costing
There's no
20.
value to them in doing it.
No,
Yeah,
you
if
gotta
anything,
put it in
just
theaters. You'll make
don't
money.
do any marketing.
I mean, Aquaman is the first one made over $1 billion. It would still
Mhm.
make some money regardless. People wouldn't realize even if it sucks ass, people wouldn't realize it until like
After opening.
masses wouldn't realize it until after opening weekend.
Yeah.
So it should make.
I really
some money.
think had they just changed the name from the Flash to Batman.
Batman Flashpoint, it would
Batman Flashpoint,
Flashpoint
it makes more money. Yeah,
makes totally
makes
more
double the box office.
money.
And they
100%.
that third trailer, that one they just put out, they fucking should have went heavy on Michael Keaton, and they barely featured him at all.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that.
They went all in on fucking Zack Snyderverse, and that's not a smart move.
No.
Really? They went all in on Snyderverse?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
I know.
That's because I didn't read anything about it, but that's very.
That's why I was like, you could watch the trailer and you're not gonna like be spoiled about anything.
Yeah. That's very strange.
Last Flash trailer only has 12 million views. The second Flash trailer had 30 million views.
That's the one that came out around the Super Bowl, or
no, that was the one that came out after the Super Bowl. The first one's what came out.
I don't know why they did 3 trailers to begin with, because the second trailer came out like what, a month and a half ago, if that.
This was like a tickets are now available, we're desperate type of trailer.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, you do like a 30-second one when like tickets are now available.
Yeah, that other.
They should have done that.
The fact that they were doing sneak previews like as early as they were is a sign that they're worried about the box
office.
That's
a good point.
They did it with Fast. They did it with the Suicide Squad. It's when they're nervous when they do things like that, and it's also when things start leaking, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But as always, we will see. What do you say? We call it a day. Our goodbye was a long one. Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're now on YouTube podcasts, which you can find on YouTube Music. We're available there now, along with Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, etc. But yeah, next episode we'll talk about Across the Spider-Verse, Ted Lasso season 3, and we will dive into the box office per usual for this summer. I'll finally have a movie to talk about in my pool, and we'll see how Little Mermaid holds, and Guardians can continue to hold as well as it's been. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll see you again next time, film fans.
Bye.